That's the spirit. You'll be celebrating Life Day before you know it. Stand by. Here's where we say goodbye to our unpleasant friends.
Star Wars Holiday Special.
Ladies and gentlemen, denizens of the internet, welcome back to the Deplorable Batcave. Today, we have something special planned for you. Normally, we discuss politics, other bullshit going on in the world. Well, technically, we still are. We're talking about bullshit that's going on in the world. We're having ourselves a Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh,
1
God.
hour of
Yeah. The memories, they're flooding back. The pain.
Hopefully by the end of this 1 hour, we will finally be able to answer the question, what do you get a Wookiee for Christmas if he already has a comb? So, introducing the panelists. From my left to my right, we have Ice and Fire.
Hey, I wish I were an alcoholic.
Blippity Blop.
You may fire window, dear.
Seawall.
Howdy, y'all.
AK-47 Your Face.
I've been secretly wishing for my death for a long time.
Beggar Hero.
I've never seen more place of den villainy in all those space stations.
And Wandering.
Execute Order 66.
Now, the way this first part is going to be structured, we're going to be going in with... We're going to give a brief overview. We're going to discuss the latest movie, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Excuse me, I vomited a little. So we're going to do a brief summary of what we expected, what we thought leading up to it, and what we think after the dust has settled. So, we shall begin, again, on my left. Ison.
So, I was actually, much to the dismay of some people here, hopeful that the movie would turn out to be alright. There were some flaws with The Force Awakens. I generally found it enjoyable. I went to go see it again multiple times while it was in theaters. I have a copy of it. I'm going to be burning it soon. But basically, I came in like, hey, this should be an interesting film. I hope it goes in directions that are meaningful and impactful to the series in a way that, builds on it instead of what it ended up doing. Because I'm going to be honest with you, it completely took all my expectations and suplexed them. And now I think Star Wars is dead. Rian Johnson killed Star Wars, and that is basically what my summary and take from all this. I found it to be an intensely disappointing story that had a little to no, honest-to-God direction, any kind of meaningful impact on the franchise that is positive or enhancing rather than destroying. I found the characters to be just abysmal, with the exception of basically two characters that were sublime, but the rest are completely god-awful and irredeemable. And the action was kind of disappointing. Now, it also had a bunch of nonsense, a lot of fluff that wasn't necessary, comedy that was just cringy, and it was just all around a massive disappointment and the worst film in the franchise. I give it 4 space sea cow tits out of 100.
Excellent usage.
Okay.
Blop, your take.
Who is more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows? I washed my hands over the franchise a long time ago. I think I would actually place the blame firmly at the feet of Lucas himself. And that would go back as far as the special editions. Yes, Han Solo fired first. I am of that camp. Now, as for this specific movie, under the abomination of Episode 7, I refuse to have anything to do with this at all. I got wind of some of the subject matter that was supposedly going to be placed into the plot months and months ago, and I refused to even watch the trailers. And I am not surprised at all that this movie has gone down an even faster nosedive into a shit heap than the previous one. Without getting into any specific details, spoiler-free, though that's impossible given the nature of the film anyway. I feel like I dodged a very painful bullet. I'm happy to divulge further into what I think it should have been, but I'll wait until everybody has said their piece on this movie in particular, and I guess we can go from there.
What is your...
But as far as I'm concerned with this movie, I think it's going to kill the franchise whilst trying to milk as much out of it as possible in a way that Lucas could have only dreamed of.
Please stop saying milk. That one scene still is in my mind.
All right. So, speaking with Seawall.
Well, before I take over, Blip, what is your grade that you can infer from what you've heard for this movie?
-7 Wampas.
Got it. Very informative. Well, I was kind of the opposite of Ison in my expectations. I was expecting a total train wreck. And you're all going to start booing and reeing at me and autistically screeching, but it beat my very low expectations.
Save that for the end. All right, let them explain.
Look, the movie... The only good part that I can give it is it was visually striking, and cinematography-wise was fairly well done. Everything else was generically okay or terrible. There was no middle ground. There was, other than that one bit of good of cinematography and special effects, everything else was generically okay or awful. And the thing is, my brother went into this movie... He fell in love with The Force Awakens. He thought this was going to be a great movie, and I've seen his soul die piece by piece ever since that day.
I am so sorry.
I give this movie a D-, an exact 60%. It barely beats fail.
Generous. Yeah. AK?
Okay, being a somewhat passive Star Wars fan myself, I have watched the movie. I've watched all the movies, and I find my own bit of enjoyment out of all of them. I have not gone to see The Last Jedi. I have seen The Force Awakens, but I have got the entire synopsis of The Last Jedi, and I probably won't go see this movie after what I've heard. Now, parroting what Seawall said, yes, I've heard the cinematography is solid, quite good. Everything else is mediocre to shit at best. The characters in the movie are mostly pretty much unrelatable. Rey is still the Mary Sue she was in The Force Awakens.
Somehow actually worse.
Yeah, somehow worse. They try to stick in subplots that lead nowhere. They tried to, I guess, put in effects or stunts that would make absolutely no fucking sense in any other context throughout the series. Character motivations, especially on the part of Luke, were completely fucked. His character was just absolutely decimated in this movie. I think that's probably what will make many classic Star Wars fans suffer the most, was that classic characters in these new movies have been completely repurposed from their original creation. So if I had to give it a rating, I guess I would give it 3 slaughtered Ewoks out of 10. It's pretty to look at, but it's still a steaming pile of shit.
AK, ironically, you were turning into Red Leader there again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It cleared up. So
I do want to actually put one thing towards AK that he'll probably agree with. It wasn't just that the subplots were missing. The entire B plot was completely counterintuitive and useless. The entire thing.
Well, we'll go into that in the more in-depth discussion.
Yeah.
So, Beggar Hero.
Where can I go? I think my only thing with the entire movie is just it's. I think the movie would be good on its own without it just without all the other 6 movies in it, because it's just all those other movies just make me so happy, and then I see The Force Awakens and then The Last Jedi, and I'm just like, "Urgh." It just I think it's sort of terrible how far you can get on with the Star Wars name, and then this movie comes out, and that would be my closing thing about it.
You have a rating?
I just give it a 4. I just give it a 4.5 out of 10.
Okay. Wondering, you're up.
All right, I found this movie to be decent. All right, amongst unpopular opinion, I thought the cinematography, the action, the fighting scenes, they look great. But honestly, yeah, I agree with them. But at the subplots were mid par. But I only look towards just the main plot between Rey and Kylo Ren, just like Rey going off with loot rather than the ship scene. So, but yeah, what kills it for me, like what makes the film so mediocre for me, would probably have to be all these subplots which I really didn't care about. Like with Finn and his new character, I didn't really see any chemistry between them.
That's stepping into spoiler territories. Don't talk about it. Just keep in generalities.
I know. Just that I don't see how, honestly, they would have worked, and that it kind of killed it for me, and I got really bored at watching them work together. But if I were to be honest, in my opinion, about the grading, I would give this movie a B-. And this film, if I had to choose from other films, this would probably have to be the second or the last movie I would watch from if I were amongst friends.
Okay. My turn. I have not seen this movie. I have no intention of seeing this movie. That being said, when Force Awakens came out, I had no intention of seeing that either. So there's my take on that. I have seen some clips from the film that made me go, why does this even exist? But I can't say anything to cinematography or anything. All I know is little bits and pieces, stuff I've heard on the internet. And when Mark Hamill himself says that this movie was written poorly, that lends a little bit of weight to the argument. So basically, from Scuttlebutt, stuff I've seen, abandoned pre-concepts for it, and everything else, I give this movie 2 Roger Rogers out of a droideka.
So nothing is what you're saying.
Yeah, I give this movie as much as it gives me. Absolutely nothing of value.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, should we take it to the next stage?
Now, the spoiler-free section is over, people. If you haven't seen it and want to see this movie, stop here. Skip to a later section. You figured that out. We're not time-stamping it because you actually have your hand on a mouse, you lazy fuck.
Yeah, but I don't know.
To the 4 people who are watching this channel, this was your only warning.
Yeah. Look, going forward, we need to make sure that you don't hear any spoilers like how Luke is the son of Darth Vader, alright? We don't want any spoilers like that being revealed to you.
No, it's impossible!
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
Well, as it says in the Japanese translation, do not want! Anyway, so we're now in the spoiler section. So open debate time, guys. Holy shit!
Okay. I want to say this.
I nominate Tyson to go first.
I'll put in terms people understand. All right, I went to go see the movie at about 10:30 at night. I went to go see it opening night. Left the movie theater about 1:30ish. Went home. It was a good half-hour drive. In that whole half hour, there was no point where I wasn't screaming my head off about how terrible the movie was, and I quote, "You killed Star Wars! You killed Star Wars!" just over and over again, until eventually my voice got hoarse. And then when I got home, I didn't sleep till 7 in the morning. At that point, it was just because exhaustion kicked in.
Sorry, I thought of a bit of a sad but timely joke. A lot of people say that various new sci-fis will be the Star Wars killer. It turned out in the end, the Star Wars killer was Star Wars itself.
Yeah, I mean, technically, this is new Star Wars.
But I would like to add a quick addendum
It
to my
was a
thing,
Star Killer as well.
which I kind of... Oh, God. Sorry, I lost the addendum. I was going to have an addendum to mine. Here's the addendum. If this movie was completely divorced from everything Star Wars, and Star Wars was deleted from our minds, and this was just a movie on its own, excluding a whole, there were holes for like there being backstory or something. Star Wars, The Last Jedi was a generically okay to slightly bad sci-fi.
Jupiter Ascendant 2.
Exactly. Jupiter's it's on par, if not maybe slightly worse than Jupiter Ascending, maybe slightly better.
Can I ask you a question then, Sewell? Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen the film, but I am aware of some of its most... astoundingly bad, quality would be the wrong word to use here, but faults.
Mm-hmm.
And that, from what I understand, this is a Star Wars film that doesn't even bother to teabag you with its political leanings. So, generic sci-fi movie aside, if it's a rehashed political claptrap that's being shoved in your face on a constant basis, how would that even be just a mediocre film?
Because if it didn't have that political claptrap, it would be above average in quality. Basically, I'm including the political claptrap as a thing that pulls me out of the movie and makes it worse. If you let's say they snapped their fingers and they got rid of the political crap and balanced some of the story bits out, which would have been affected by the political crap trap. As I said, from the action scenes, the basic plot lines, and things like that, it is a generically below average sci-fi flick on its own.
I'm gonna give JJ and Ryan one shred of fucking credit that they don't fucking deserve. When they said they were going to blow up the Senate, they did mean it. Force Awakens, they quite literally blow up the Senate, guys.
Yeah.
So
I found that mildly entertaining.
So that was Coruscant that got blown up?
Pretty sure, yeah. They got rid of the Republic.
No, it wasn't Coruscant. It wasn't Coruscant. Coruscant was not the capital. It's somewhere else.
Regardless, the Senate died.
Yeah, the Senate's dead.
Right. So, see, you just hit another point. So this is another example, then, of them taking a classic archetype planet that's well known in the series, and they just slap another name in it.
Yeah.
Case in point, Tatooine.
Look, if you would allow me to do some mild
improvement... Sewell, you didn't answer the question.
What's the question again?
So this is yet another example, is it not?
Yes.
Of the movie taking well-known archetypes, Coruscant, Tatooine, and just slapping a different name on it.
Yep.
Why does it need to do that?
No one knows.
Probably just like Star Wars nostalgia.
Probably.
Well, if you're going to come up with something else, at least use imagination and give it a difference. Otherwise, it's the same thing with a different name.
Don't make a clone of Tatooine be fucking Jakku. Don't make Jakku the clone of Tatooine. Either set it on Tatooine or put it somewhere else like a fucking ice planet. Wait, no, that'd be Hoth.
Okay, to be fair, there is a point you run out of unique planet ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. Or a jungle planet. Oh, wait.
Okay, but you can give it something.
You
use something called imagination.
You can't give
it something.
Guys, I'm going to be honest. The only planet we didn't ever get was weird random floating rock planet. And that's because then they'd just be ripping off James Cameron.
True. But if you guys will humor me, I have some proposed improvements that would have made this movie good. First off, drop the political claptrap. Just get rid of it. 2, kill off Rose, have her be in the bomber, and
No, just have her
sister
not
take
exist.
over. Yeah, have her not exist.
All right, don't have Rose exist.
Yeah.
3, Leia should have been the one piloting the
Exactly.
Home 1
She
ripoff.
should have been. No, it should have been Home 1, and it should have been her on it, and it shouldn't have been that weird purple-haired Vice Admiral, but it should have been Akbar.
Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Meryl Streep. It should have, whoever the fuck it was, it should have been
Meryl Streep
Admiral
ripped off
Akbar.
Florida.
It should have been an old Admiral Akbar who was leading the resistance away.
That's too bad he
friendly
died.
face. A friendly face that we all know.
Oh, yeah, no, he just gets killed off screen. He's not even that good.
Yeah, they killed Akbar and several other Alliance heroes off screen.
It was obviously a trap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's what I did. The scene leading before that, like Kylo Ren, like holding the trigger to shoot the bombs at the bridge, but yet he doesn't do it. But yet he can kill his father without any remorse, but not his mother.
Because he's a mommy's bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, sons are usually more, prone to their mothers than they are their fathers.
But okay, look. As I said, there are other improvements. As said, Leia be the one to pilot the ship because she's injured. You have Akbar replace the Admiral bitch. You don't cut Poe out. Instead, you have Akbar pull him aside and say, "Look, I know you're the young hotshot pilot, but here's the basic plan. There's an old Rebel Alliance base nearby. Our best shot is to make them think we are on this ship when it runs out of fuel and they blow it up, and in the meantime we sneak on board with these little stealth transports that we've got." And then Poe would go, "You know what? Not the best plan ever, but I can get behind it."
Other from the minor purple-haired space bitch, Holdo, she's actually played by the bitch who played the girl in the lady in Jurassic Park. Those of you who don't,
The scientist woman?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Mumbles!
And suddenly everything makes sense.
Oh, no.
Yeah, hasn't she kind of been off the grid in Hollywood for a long time?
Pretty much, yeah. Also, why do we have Benicio del Toro, fucking stuttering Benicio del Toro, as some weird hacker man ripoff that doesn't ever go anywhere?
He's the Lando
He's
Calrissian of this movie.
he's still on a trip from Fear and
But he
Loathing.
doesn't Lando in the movie!
Yeah, he
I
doesn't
don't
do a good
think he
Lando.
ever
He does
will.
a shit Lando.
And if they make him Lando, it's just gonna make it even worse.
Okay, I can't hold this in anymore. I think, based on what you've described, this was dead on arrival. There's absolutely no way of salvaging it.
Yeah,
because of inherent built-in flaws.
it could have been solved.
That finished my point. That
It could
finished
have
my
been
point.
salvaged. No, it really could have been salvaged.
No. I think you need to go back to the very first one.
What?
And it couldn't be salvaged because we need to go back to who created this, who was writing it, and
Jar Jar
why.
Abrams?
Jar Jar Abrams. And Jar Jar Abrams has made it emphatically clear. I'm sorry, Scott. He's made it emphatically clear what he envisions this to be.
Yeah.
Darth Mickey
Hell.
has raked this into oblivion.
Well, there is a slight hope
when you
that-
have somebody who drove the Star Trek franchise into the ground, it was only inevitable that he's going to lock onto another
Which was why
well-known franchise.
I was
and,
hesitant going into episode 7 because after seeing what he did to Star Trek,
I know. I didn't share your wisdom on this, Scott, much to my chagrin.
Yeah.
But I learned my lesson after episode 7. That's it.
What?
Jar Jar is better as a producer and not as a director. That's what I've learned about him.
He's like Spielberg.
All his best shit, he's been a producer on.
Like Spielberg. Spielberg made a better producer than
Let AK
Spielberg.
speak. Let AK speak.
yeah, AK.
I'm just trying to figure. What I want to know is how long did they plan on the whole? Like the only person who's not the only one of the main cast from the old movies who isn't dead is the one who's actually dead in real life. Like,
Well, to be fair to them, they didn't plan on her dying.
Yeah, and they didn't
She was
have
supposed to be
reshoot.
around longer,
I think
Or
that the
they
approach
did
is
and they
going to
didn't
use like
care.
CGI on her face. For
which is
like,
why they totally should have changed it and had her pilot.
They had time to reshoot that.
Yeah, they could have reshot it, used a body double and a sound alike.
yeah.
Or
And then
they
have
could
Laura
have
Dern
CGI.
stay. I mean, hell, I wouldn't have actually minded Laura Dern's character. It seemed like there was going to be more to her.
Yeah, it could have been. She basically could have filled the role in as the new Leia, basically.
They could have. They had two great character opportunities actually with Laura Dern's character and Benicio del Toro's, and they took them and they're like, "Hey, you know these cool characters? The people watching the movie might like. Fuck them."
Yeah, the Del Toro character, if he actually was, it wasn't just R2D2's spherical clone.
Okay, fuck you. Actually, BB-8's adorable.
Okay, BB-8 is adorable. I have to admit that. But it was not only BB-8, but BB-8 and I think his name was DJ or something like that were the ones in that. And he said, hey, I'm kind of the unexpected because they kind of implied he was going to help them somehow, but then he didn't. If he actually had helped them, then they could have pulled a proper Lando with him, and it would have been fine or less bad.
You know what you're reiterating now that you brought in Lando.
Yeah.
But
look, if you're going to do a Lando...
Essentially, my prediction was correct. So they copied the shit out of A New Hope and fucked that up.
Yeah.
And now they're doing that with Empire Strikes Back.
Yep, they just rejumbled a lot of it. They rejumbled a lot of it.
Let me ask you this.
Why in God's name did that one soldier have to say that this is
Was the Resistance defeated in this movie?
Yes, almost completely.
Thank you.
We win.
Did they have a last stand, almost a last stand on the planet, until they had to flee on the ship?
Yes, but this time it wasn't a snow planet. It was covered in salt.
Oh, God, that changes everything.
Well, AT-AT...
And it wasn't the shield generator they were going for. It was blowing up a giant door.
Here's the thing. Comparing this film, I'm going to say it's not...
What's Yoda in it?
No, let me finish. It's not enough like Empire Strikes Back, because if it were, comparing it to Empire Strikes Back right now is just too much of a disservice to Empire Strikes Back. And I'm someone who actually takes ESP and says, it's not all it's cracked up to be. The middle fucking third of the movie is flatline. However, at the same time, I'm going to say this would be doing a disservice to what is, in my opinion, the third greatest film in the franchise. And I know I'm probably going to crucify for just saying that.
I don't agree with you on that, Ison. Let me ask you this. Thematically, what do you get, or what do you think Empire Strikes Back is trying to convey?
What is Empire Strikes Back trying to convey?
Good movie.
Character development in a way that also creates a conflict that's stabilized so that the way they can have a good third film conflict?
I don't know if that was the main impetus. I think the main, at least from what I understood of Empire Strikes Back was the loss of innocence.
Yeah, the loss of innocence.
Was the grim, reality defeat.
Yeah.
And
I'd say the climactic concluding theme are those themes are mirrored. But to be fair, it was a logical step forward for the franchise that they, in fact, here's the thing, they actually have to evacuate 2 fucking planets at one point. The first one is their actual base, which to be fair was the logical conclusion, because the First Order knew where their base was, hence why there was the whole problem in The Force Awakens of having to shut down Starkiller Base.
Yep.
I can't believe you're going to have to make me do this. I'm going to defend Lucas now.
I've been defending Lucas with a lot of people lately. I've been begging for him.
No. I'm going to defend the prequels now. God help me.
We've reached that point where we
Attack of the Clones didn't do that.
I like this. I have fun fact, folks. I like the prequels.
I'm not.
When you say it is the logical next step, I completely disagree. I think it's laziness on the part of the writers that they're taking a tried and tested formula that was done, in my opinion, extremely well, and banking and milking on it as much as they possibly can, and fucking it up.
Stop mentioning milking. God, that one scene.
Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah, no, that scene. That's the 4-titted space sea cow. Fucking disgusting.
It didn't borrow those elements.
Actually, after watching a very, very brief clip of a scene of the movie, the Leia Superman scene, it was sent to me. I watched it. And I came back to the chat, and I believe it was Bob that asked me, "Okay, well, did you miss anything else about Star Wars?" I said yes. And you know what I missed after watching that? I miss sand. I hate sand.
Okay, look.
After watching that, I missed.
I'm going to have to be the bad guy when it comes to that scene. That scene is fine, in my opinion. It was shot a little wonky. That's the only problem I have with it. You've got to realize that even though Leia isn't as strong in the Force as Luke, and she hasn't had nearly as much training. It is established in canon that when Force users are in extreme danger, their power spikes temporarily.
See, well, you're cutting in and out there, my dude.
Yeah. Are you also missing out the central feature is now it doesn't matter because she's a woman.
Oh yeah, women.
Women can fly.
So again, in terms everyone will understand, right? Here's the thing. I'm going to give the prequels more credit because, as these guys know, I jerk off the prequels. As far as I'm concerned, the second half of episode 2 onward is good. Now, they actually do, in fact, have a very original story direction that doesn't in any way mirror the original synopsis of the first 3 films. It goes in an entirely different arc. It has entirely different arcs, for better or worse.
Mm-hmm. I'll give him that. He is right.
Misa Mikey!
Well, from Jesus Christ.
You're saying people gonna die?
Okay, enough.
My thoughts on the whole debacle with the thought process on how that Superman Leia scene worked was that even if the canon said that the Force user's powers spike during times of stress, it doesn't exactly prompt control.
And let's face it, okay,
Which
you're in a boat, you're in a bridge that explodes.
You're in the vacuum of space.
Vacuum!
Yeah,
Which
Leia wasn't conscious.
You can survive in the vacuum of space for several minutes.
3 minutes,
And I'll even say the Force gives her enough willpower to be conscious. There's no fucking way she can force move herself Superman style.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Wait, I don't think. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you can force lift yourself.
Yes, you
And,
can.
also
Force
another
jump is a thing.
No, but you can. There are Force acrobatics, but that implies that there's fucking gravity.
All you're doing is using the Force to enhance your physical abilities. You can't use it to fly.
And also talking about gravity,
Palpatine would counteract that. He can fucking levitate.
Let's see.
when they opened the airlock, why were they all sucked out?
There were 2 doors. They sealed one door, and it was so little air movement you wouldn't have noticed.
Oh, in other words, another reference to gravity. How about those bombers, right, guys? The ones with they drop bombs out of the bottom and they fall
kicking of the fucking
in space.
That has been done before.
Yeah, well, no, my problem is not that. Because those bombs, there was gravity on the ship.
Mirroring Empire Strikes
Where did
Back.
that happen in Empire Strikes Back?
TIE bombers.
The asteroid field.
You realize that their bombs have propulsion, though, right?
But the fact remains. Well,
No,
that was
those
never
were free
explained.
falling.
The fact remains is that you're still inside of an
Artificial
place with
gravity
an opening
environment.
into space, so it should be sucking you out.
No, okay, look. You didn't see it very well because they didn't animate it very well, but there is a field that is known in Star Wars that exists. You didn't see it on the Death Star.
Exist.
There's a field that lets solid objects through, but not gases. And the whole thing is, they're dropping bombs. Well, the thing is, you saw her moving around in that bomber just fine. That means there's artificial gravity in the bomber, which means when they let go of the bombs, assuming those bombs aren't given an initial boost from the clamps, they will still have that initial gravity from being inside that ship, assuming they are just pure dumb drop bombs. More than likely, though, they probably have an accelerator.
Because any
So
of the
they probably are
acceleration they have would
accelerators. So
have
they probably have accelerators
been
built
lost
in.
the second they passed through the field. They would not have dropped that fast.
That means, then, that the clamps gave a bit of extra force. Some sort of...
No, they didn't. It's bullshit is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, without an explanation, all we have is what we see.
The bullshit in that scene is not the bombs dropping, it's the chick kicking the fucking ladder. And the thing falls perfect into her hand.
It doesn't fall. I mean, not really. Cute.
No, that was... She basically did everything perfect there. She kicked it just right so it fell within her reach, and she grabbed it at the last second. That was the bullshit part.
Typically speaking, the bomb bay normally has proton bombs or orbital fucking mines in it for a fucking TIE bomber. Proton bombs have a form of propulsion. It might not have been shown, but they exist.
Proton missile, yeah.
there is a precedent for them having propulsion in a TIE bomber, hence why you can excuse Empire Strikes Back. Now you're making me defend the middle arc of Empire Strikes Back. What has this film done to us?
That has been done to you.
At any rate, at any fucking rate, I'm just gonna say it though. Those ships, by the way, they looked cool. Alright, those fucking bombers that they had looks cool. They don't make any fucking sense. And that's what the problem is.
Also, why in God's name is the button that drops the bombs fucking removable from the wall, and why don't you have 8 of those everywhere?
I certainly, it wouldn't be fair to ask you because your position on the film is becoming clearer and clearer. But you defenders, I've got a question for you. Guerrilla 8080s. Why?
It's just advancement in technology. The
I
style's going to change slightly.
I like
They're
that.
fine.
I want new tech. That's one of the few things that I get joy from
Look,
from
the
any of these.
Stormtroopers looked fucking stupid. I will freely say that. The Stormtrooper armor was dumb looking.
Personally, I like it, and then now everyone's a fan.
There would be only one saving grace.
They went to Apple iPod in look, but the ship design for the First Order and their ground equipment did look intimidating and much heavier military style than the original Empire's design.
The only saving grace to the Guerrilla 8080s would be if there's a writer somewhere there on the inside who's making a Harambe reference.
Blip, you do realize that the First Order has already been set in canon to be more militaristic than even the Empire, whose stormtroopers were not trained for military conquest, but for civilian suppression.
Yes, the tweets have been sent out. Long ago.
But
you guys are splitting hairs and nitpicking really small shit. We're kind of losing the point of the big shit of the entire B plot was fucking useless and counterintuitive.
Not just that. Again, they destroyed Luke's character. They destroyed Luke's character.
Actually, okay, I'm going to say this about Luke's character.
Oh no! Look at you defending it. Look at you defending it, Ison.
No. I'm not going to defend it. I'm going to say it was a good idea done fucking terribly.
Yeah.
You can have a good idea, but if it's executed poorly, then might as well have not been a good idea in the first place.
Like, it disenfranchised Luke, who wants to think that the Jedi Order should end. Sure, that could be done well.
Actually kind of brings him back to what he was originally, which was the reluctant hero. You turn him from the reluctant hero to the willing hero to the reluctant mentor. It's actually kind of a evolution.
Expanded universe, cough, cough.
Yeah.
Done far better.
Does not exist.
Again, here's my issue is that, to be fair, even as someone who, again, hates the film, we can't always point to, something was done in the expanding universe. Enough has been done in the expanding universe at this point.
I will agree. Essentially, this is the Simpsons did it argument.
Nihil sub sol sovum. Or something. Sub sol novum. Nothing is new under the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, we now call it the Simpsons did it argument.
That wasn't my point was that it's been done before, but in some cases, not in all, because there's god awful EU out there as well. In some cases, it's been done incredibly well, and there's plenty of inspired material they could have drawn from and done well too.
Yeah, or they could have, done a trilogy that focused on Thrawn.
Their whole pretty much stealing segments, scene for scene, and fucking them up. They're not even coming up with something inspired or really new.
But I also have a beef with, if Luke is so reluctant, then what was the point of the entire plot of The Force Awakens?
They didn't know he was reluctant.
Actually, if Luke is reluctant to train the Jedi, to train Jedi again, then what the fuck was the point of the Return of the Jedi?
No, stop. You gotta realize there was a pretty big time jump in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And the thing they knew Luke was disheartened, but they thought someone showing up and finding him and telling him it is the darkest hour again would bring him back. They had no knowledge that he was completely broken. But that does not excuse how terrible Luke is. I understand the whole idea of Luke in self-exile, feeling he's a monster for the things he did. But
what did he do?
What did he do?
Okay, in the story,
Kylo
we
Ren.
find out that Kylo Ren was being corrupted by Snoke. And out of fear, Luke goes to his house, and for a moment he gives into that fear and pulls out his lightsaber to strike Kylo Ren down in his sleep.
See while you cut out there. You just straight up cut out there.
Okay. In a moment of weakness, as Luke notices...
No, even further.
Is anyone else hearing me cut out?
I'm not hearing you cut out. I'm hearing Bob cut out once in a while.
Yeah, Wandering, I think you're the one with problems.
Wandering, it's okay. My recording is good. I'll restart and then we'll... Okay, so during the training, the darkness is building in Kylo because Snoke is fucking with him. Luke starts to fear this because he fears he's losing Kylo, so he goes to confront him. And in his sleep, he feels like the surge of darkness from Kylo or something, and in a moment of weakness, he draws his lightsaber to strike down Kylo. But at that moment, he immediately regrets it and turns his lightsaber off. Kylo then wakes up, seeing Luke over him, holding the lightsaber, and flips the fuck out.
Well, because, that's what you do.
Is this actually in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
It is in the movie.
It's in the flashback movie.
It's in a flashback in the movie.
Now, here's what I am going to say, though. I'm going to quote the man, the myth, the legend, the great hero of the world, Ben Shapiro. All right?
Yeah.
Why would Luke try to kill Kylo? He tried to save Vader after Vader destroyed a planet and cut off his hand. He sensed good in him. He senses evil in Kylo and for a moment wants to kill him. That seems like a mild stretch at best.
Well, Mark Hamill himself said this is not Luke Skywalker. This is not how Luke would act.
Yeah.
It's not.
And Mark Hamill, he's extremely diplomatic. He doesn't like to step on people's toes.
Yeah.
And generally he'll couch things in very fluffy terms. So for him to come out with a criticism like that is utterly scathing.
It really is.
Then, of course, people got mad at him, and so he had to walk back all his comments.
It was too late for him then.
Is that why they killed him off?
By the Empire.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, Mark Hamill did his best with the acting. Even he may be a shitlib, but he's a good actor.
So, speaking of which, he also got fucked by fucking Ben on Twitter. But hey, back to Star Wars. Fuck that movie, okay? They had bullet time lightsaber fights.
I don't understand that. Why?
Excuse you? Are you fucking insane?
Stop trying to strike me and strike me.
All right. Look, Blob knows I don't really like defending the prequels either, but here I am.
Oh god!
But if
look
you
what
want,
you've done.
but if you want lightsaber fighting done right, look at the prequels. It's not tapping sticks; it's actual sword fights.
It's flips and shit.
Yeah, it's more
That
thematically
shit's fucking
entertaining than it's more visually appealing than tapping sticks.
Like, there are two ways to do lightsaber fights. There's Empire Strikes Back / Return of the Jedi. And then there's
plotting, but
prequels.
hard hitting, and then the prequels fast and light.
I think probably
Although,
my favorite fight in the
okay,
prequel.
and
It wasn't just technological. I think Lucas did originally envisage the two-handed lightsaber as being a heavy weapon, one that requires certain finesse, but it's very sedate looking, which is what partially explains A New Hope. By the time you get to Return of the Jedi, it has evolved significantly, but obviously you still have the technological limitations.
Yeah. So the fight is more fast-paced.
And Menace, on the other hand, that was revolutionary.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I will say this. I didn't see this movie either. Someone finally showed me the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome.
It is.
Rogue One, I will say, is actually a decent Star Wars movie, and on its own would have been a good movie.
Well, I watched CinemaSins, Everything Wrong With.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was basically just trying to dick suck Episode 4 hard.
Basically.
But
that's the whole point of that movie. I mean, why else would you... Here's my thing is that I'm never going to acknowledge that movie because Kyle Katarn isn't in it.
Oh, come on. Get your dick out of the expanded universe.
But anyway, like I said, well, I'm just going to say that scene with Vader just going... Basically a hybrid in between Episode 4 and prequels where he's just swinging his lightsaber and reflecting bolts back. Yes. Just fucking
and then
yes.
force crushes a couple of fools.
There would be one reason alone to watch that film, and that's the feel, the mood, the tone is spot on.
Although I will say this, apparently, there is a drinking game involved with it if you want to get super smashed.
What?
Take a shot every time they say hope.
Oh God, I didn't notice that.
And also on The Last Jedi, take a drink every time you say I forgot how they say it. The flame that will.
Anytime they mention a flame, how about that? Anytime they mention a spark or a flame.
Yeah.
It's like, the spark, the flame, that spark. I'm getting really sick of it.
At this point, I almost. What the sad thing is, Blop?
I'm sorry, what is this, Hunger Games?
I'm sorry, Blap. At this point, looking at what they did with it, I almost would have rather had the Force tree.
That's the spirit. You'll be celebrating Life Day before you know it.
Fucking hate you. Alright, so now I'm gonna say something positive real quick, okay? If y'all want to go see a good sequel this year that came out this year, go watch Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
That was.
I saw Ragnarok.
Even
Those are good.
Nope, that's divergence. We're not doing this.
No, I'm just giving a positive note. Back to Star Wars. Okay, another thing that sucks about this godforsaken movie, by the way, is just the fact. Oh my god, just the needless B plot that was unnecessarily anti-capitalist.
Anti-capitalist, animal rights. What else is there?
Anti-child slave labor. Like, who's against child slave labor? I think that's a great idea. No, but in all seriousness, it's
animal rights.
Oh, look at these people who made money funding wars. Ugh.
And also
Look at all
a
this capitalism.
And also somehow an Asian chick finding a black guy attractive.
Yeah,
I know, that's the weirdest part.
That's going to put a huge damper on
that
the
just doesn't
Chinese
make any
audience.
sense.
That's going to put a massive damper on the Chinese audience. I don't know
You'll
what they
never
were
see
thinking.
that again. Ultimately, it still resulted in almost complete defeat.
Yeah. Where was the Iraq War reference in that entire movie? I didn't find it anywhere.
Right?
Well, okay, there was one thing that was kind of okay. They made the resistance at least look a little bad too, because they said, "Oh, they're selling to both sides." Still hates capitalism, but at least it makes the resistance see a little bit less bad, a little bit more bad, a little less good.
Like I felt like too that was gonna go somewhere, and then it didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the resistance is selling to both sides. And then what Finn would do, no. And then you know what you do? This is how you make the movie good. You have Finn join Kylo.
Yeah.
Again.
So,
I just made a better Star Wars movie than The Last Jedi!
That's
and
not
all
hard.
I did was change one fucking thing!
Okay, but again, that's hard. But here's the thing. So,
and turn Captain Phasma into a spy for the rebellion.
No, you fucking kill off Captain Phasma. She hasn't done jack shit in 2 movies.
That's what they did in the movie.
By the way, Rebels is fucking great.
Star Wars Rebels?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good.
that's what they did in...
I'm inclined to agree, Ison, but we're not going to bring Rebels into it.
So let me get this straight. Between the B plot of this movie and everything else that's gone on in the past year, so anytime the left injects politics into anything, all they can serve up on the menu is nothing burgers.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
As has been always said, the left can't meme.
So.
What? Why is it wondering? What's up?
Yeah, they killed off Captain Phasma.
They kill off Phasma?
Supposedly.
It's way possible, too.
So supposedly the new Boba Fett, as I believe Phasma was being hailed, gets axed off in movie 2.
Well, it's basically like Boba
By
Fett. He
a
was
black
brought in
token
movie,
character.
Yeah, he was brought in movie 2 and killed off in movie 3 pretty unceremoniously. So,
the Fett character family has a history of just being abused by everyone. So it's nothing new, and it's not like we can slight it for doing anything worse. It really didn't.
And if she somehow survives through some bullshit means, then she truly is the new Boba Fett.
Well, actually, no. Technically, she's worse because she didn't even have the presence of Boba Fett.
They tried to, but it failed.
You're going to go with the EU.
All they gave her was reflective armor.
Yeah, but they gave her a better death. I mean, give that kind of what it's due. Her death is bullshit, but it's still better than Boba's. Right. Granted, Boba and Jango just got bitch deathed.
So, have we hit the halfway mark yet?
We're at 50
well beyond that.
Yeah. I'm
past the halfway mark.
Okay, so
I was gonna say I have to dip out now. I gotta go get ready for work. I'll catch you guys later.
Right, okay. Thanks for taking.
No problem. Bye, guys.
All right, so here's the. All right, so we're just gonna, because otherwise we're just gonna be debating this ad nauseum. We're bringing this section to a close. So now we're going to move to happier topics in Star Wars. We're going to talk about what parts of Star Wars we liked, whether it be the original stuff, prequels, EU games, what have you. We're going to end this on a lighter note.
Oh.
Jedi Academy was a good game.
Yes, it was.
Should we do this like we did with the beginning? Should we go through each?
Yeah.
Well, okay,
each
we'll do a brief summary, just a general overview of our thoughts, and then we'll jump into the fireside. So, Ison.
Okay.
The expanding universe can be overhyped at times. It has a lot of faults, a lot of positives. I should know I've read both and I've played both. However, generally speaking, it adds to the Star Wars universe a flavor that a few other fantasy sci-fi universes can do. I think the only universe that even posts up against it is probably the Halo franchise, which is actually surprisingly good. Generally speaking, my favorites amongst this kind of stuff are a lot of the games. I enjoyed KOTOR for what little I've actually played it. I'll admit I haven't played enough of it. Jedi fucking Academy is by far one of the best games in how you do lightsaber fights right. Empire at War is a good game. I have a lot of fun with that. Rebel Commandos, again, good example. Rest in Peace, Battlefront. And fuck yeah, Kyle Katarn.
Alrighty, Blop.
I'll go with what Jack said, but I'll add a bit more of an element to it, because I don't think that was entirely fair with regards to the expanded universe. Particularly when we were still in the dark days where there hadn't been filmed for, at that point, almost 8 years, with the advent of the Edge of the Empire trilogy. And that really changed everything, not just because of the author in question, who was, in my opinion, possibly the best Star Wars expanded universe author.
The man who should have written the prequel trilogy.
But because Timothy Zahn added such well-written characters and such a new direction
He's
with where
the father of Thrawn.
in some ways,
Well,
the characters that he had written were far superior to those that Lucas could ever hope to, and that paved the way. Tales of the Jedi, the likes of Alec Eldroma, Exar Kun. This, I have no doubt, was what inspired and influenced Episode 1 many years later. Well, not many years later. It was something like 6 years later. I think that had a profound effect. And also, as Isa mentions, it's the video games as well. It's the immersive experience of some of them. Just, being either a side character like Kyle Katarn or even generic characters in some of these games. It was such a vivid world. And then came 97, where that all changed. Now, I admit that I haven't had the best relationship with the prequels, but I will not take away what it introduced, and that's mainly the incredible dynamics of lightsaber duels and a bit more of a backstory to the Jedi that wasn't necessarily fully explored with Tales of the Jedi.
Also clones.
I was never a big fan of what they did with the clones. I think that was really poorly done. I think what Timothy Zahn intimated with the Spartan cloning cylinders, that was far better in my opinion. It was better written, and of course when the heroes met clones in the Katana fleet, it was very mysterious. So you could argue that there still is the possibility to reconcile the two stories together. I'm not someone who actually played KOTOR, but I've heard much about it. I've heard how close it is to many people's hearts, and just how it really, really pushed the the themes, and well, a lot of people have very fond memories of it, and I can understand that. I think that by the time of LucasArts closure and Lucas selling off the franchise to Disney, I really think that was it in terms of what the writing could produce. I mean, as much as I like things like what Rogue One brings up and Rebels, I still do think it's only a pale shadow of what it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my thoughts.
All right. Seawall.
I have an interesting relationship with the Star Wars expanded universe, mainly because I'm a tabletop RPG fag. That's what you guys call us, right?
Yeah.
So I've actually done some pretty deep dives into a lot of history and little bits of information, and well, for all of the faults the expanded universe had, what was it? Timothy Zahn, you said, was the kind of the one who was better than Lucas ever could be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Zahn gave a lot of good. Yeah, Zahn gave a lot of good stuff. I've looked into the history of all that. The fact that he's the father of Thrawn, the character that none of Lucas's characters combined could stop. They failed. He spoiler alert, but everyone probably should know this at some point. The person who kills Thrawn and stops him aren't any of the main heroes. It's his own bodyguard. And there is speculation and rumor that Thrawn planned his own death. Because that's how paranoid and crazy the man was, effectively. That's how brilliant and clever.
Okay, well, I'll speak for that.
Yeah. But the thing is, as I said, I like it because there's so much really cool little bits of lore in the expanded universe that Disney killed. But I do agree with Blip. The Rebels is a pale imitation, and Rogue One's a pale imitation of what was. Though before Disney and the House of Mouse ruined it, I was a fan of the Star Wars The Clone Wars series, and I have looked into some of the final things that were supposed to happen in the show, and I have to say this: the prequel trilogy doesn't hold a candle to Clone Wars. The Clone Wars TV series saved that entire era for me because it treated the characters so well, and it was amazing this was a kid's show. So, that's my piece.
Someone never got involved in the 501st.
Beggar.
Yeah, Star Wars was like one of the first movies I ever got into, like with watching, because like I watch it on the old VHS player, like non-edited version, and then when the prequels came out, I was just like, okay. And after that, it just turned into Star Wars Battlefront. Loved that game to death, and many of my friends loved that Battlefront too. But now, especially now, I'm just getting older. Just doing 40K. And I'm hoping don't go into the Star Wars route 40K.
Alrighty, Wandering.
Darth Sidious isn't the Sith Lord. No, Jar Jar Binks is the Darth Sith Lord that shall rule over
Yes, Robot Chicken Cannon, I understand.
And also from How It Should Have Ended. I love that part. No, Yusa isn't Lord of the Sith. No, Misa is Lord of the Sith. But
in my case, I'm not an original Star Wars fan, obviously. I didn't see it in theaters. I grew up with the VHS tapes myself, pre-special editions. So no CGI singing abomination in Jabba's palace, and Han shot first.
You didn't have half an hour interview for the film.
So then the prequels came out, and I was excited because I was young at the time. I didn't know any better. I watched episode 1. I thought it was great from an action standpoint. In retrospect, I think I knew even then it didn't hold up very well story-wise. Although I will give episode 1 credit for 2 things. Okay, 3 things. 1, it introduced flashy lightsaber fights. It gave us Darth Maul, who was actually imposing as an introduction to the Sith Lords. And it gave us Duel of Fates. Which, in my opinion, is possibly the best orchestral piece in the entire Star Wars soundtrack collection. It is just a badass piece of music. And then we have episode 2, which was... I couldn't even defend it at the time. Then episode 3 was getting back on track, but obviously that was it. There was not going to be anything after that. From there, it was pretty much EU and games. EU, I read the Heir to the Empire trilogy. Zahn brought the Clone Wars to life before Lucas even touched it. With the Sparty cylinders. With the Salamiri. He wrote a better Han Solo in Talon Card. He wrote a damn good good anti-hero in Mara Jade. He wrote a crazy a crazy dark Jedi better than Lucas could in Jorus K'Both. And a more intimidating tactical villain than Darth Vader in Grand Admiral Thrawn. Everything that Lucas did, Zahn did better. But moving away from worshipping at the altar of Zahn. There was also The Truce of Bakura, which was another good novel. And there were others. The Jedi Academy trilogy was pretty good. But in terms of games, and I'm not... You might have been too young for it, Ison, but nobody... Rogue Squadron?
Oh, yes.
Amen to that.
No one brought it up. I'm like, why? In the first Rogue Squadron, when you could... granted, it came out right... What was it, like a little bit before Episode 1?
The end of 19... No, it was...
I think it came out a little bit before.
Yeah, it was the end of 98, beginning of 99.
Because an Easter egg in it was the Naboo Starfighter.
That's right, which they'd kept for a whole year.
By the way, just going to mention this. I've played Super Star Wars for the SNES.
Well, the Super trilogy was good. The Super Star Wars trilogy, so good. But that's what introduced the flippy lightsabers. The fucking Super Star Wars trilogy on Super Nintendo.
Yep. Oh, by the way, I'd like to note something awesome. Rebel Commandos, underrated as fuck.
I didn't play those, but
I recommend getting it. It's on I think it's on sale right now.
I've played Rogue Squadron. I could never, for some bizarre reason, I could never find a copy of Rogue Squadron 2 for GameCube. It was weird. I could never get my hands on a copy.
I did have that. That was pretty good.
To give you guys a heads up, we're over an hour now.
Well,
okay.
Well, I'll go ahead and finish up, and then we can decide what to do. But it's a special. We could keep going.
Oh yeah, no, we can totally keep going.
But so yeah, then I was browsing around the internet, and I heard of KOTOR. I played the shit out of KOTOR. Which, by the way, right now, on Steam, is cheap as hell.
All the Star Wars games are. I recommend picking up a lot of them.
For example, on Steam right now, Star
Humble
Wars...
Bundle sale, by the way. Guys, my screen just blacked out.
Oh.
We may lose.
I'll be back soon.
Oh no, it's the niggas attacking.
But on Steam right now, as of this recording... KOTOR is on Steam for $3.39. No excuse not to play it. And KOTOR 2 is on the same price. So, and if you thought Star Wars Battlefront 2 sucked, play Star Wars Battlefront 2, the 2005 version, for $3.39.
Yes. Ooh. Also, so here are games that I recommend that are on sale right now. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Give me a bit more here. So, yeah, there's the KOTOR games, which introduced which were revolutionary in that they introduced the backstory of the Republic. It gave us a time before the prequels.
Which game are you talking about? Sorry.
KOTOR.
Oh.
It was before the prequels, before everything. 4,000 years before Episode 4. It gave us the character of Darth Revan. Which, by the way, the design of Kylo Ren was a almost one-for-one copy.
Yep.
Which that irked me. That irked me greatly.
Yeah.
But KOTOR added more. It added more lore to the Jedi. It added more lore to the Sith. Because up until that point, I believe KOTOR was the people at BioWare were told either it had to tie in with Episode 1 or it had to be before.
And they chose before,
which is good because they added the actual Jedi code and a Sith code.
Yep.
They did that before Lucas himself did it. BioWare did.
Here.
So, yeah. Personal opinion: if you want to understand where a lot of differences can be had, and the beginnings of the arrogance of the Jedi, KOTOR 1 and 2.
Rest in peace, BioWare.
You're next on the chopping block.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they stopped working on Star Wars: The Old Republic. They haven't received like a new story chapter within like.
Well, they also stopped all development on Mass Effect Andromeda, which was a recent release. They canceled everything that was coming for it.
Yeah, because it screwed the pooch so bad.
So yeah,
the shark, not even jumping it.
Yeah, they're dead. They're next on the chopping block. They're going to be the 14th studio that EA has killed.
Yeah.
So
Star Wars: The Old
kill
Republic
EA
hasn't had an
instead.
update in like 5 months.
Well, I'm not even going to touch the Old Republic anymore because that initial free-to-play system was just god-awful.
EA, stay the hell away from my Paradox Studios.
EA, don't even think about touching.
Wait, Paradox is dead.
What?
Wasn't Paradox already shut down?
No, they're the ones who did City Silence, Stellaris, and a new Mars colony simulator.
I've
Okay,
never heard
okay,
any
no,
of
all
those
right,
games.
all right. It was another game that sounds for a pandemic, right? But yeah, where was I? I guess, yeah, EA is going to kill it. But if you want to stick your toe into why fans defend the old, what's now called the Legacy section, but we're still calling it the EU because fuck the House of Mouse. KOTOR is a great place to start.
Oh, also real quick, to piggyback off what...
Oh, and to Ison, I did play... I didn't play the first one, but I did play Jedi Outcast.
They're all good. I'm going to say they're all good. My favorite Jedi Academy just because it's just the best polished and probably the best as far as lightsaber combat. To piggyback off Sewell said, also EA, stay the fuck away from spiders. If you touch that fucking company, I will put you in the ground.
They can't even touch CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, they can't, but they could totally touch spiders. Spiders isn't big enough.
All right, so what do you guys think? Keep going, just open up discussion on why we love this world.
What they like about the expanding universe. What about has everyone had a chance?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think I was the last one in the lineup, so I think we can just throw it up into a fire if everybody wants to continue.
I'm good with continuing.
Yeah, I have to go right about.
We're over an hour, and I'm getting pushed up against other things I've got to look into. So
Okay, I guess we cannot. All right.
Yeah.
fair enough.
If you'll allow me at least to end by recommending some games on sale on Steam right now, because a lot of them are on sale. All of them are on sale.
Yeah, every Star Wars game is on sale right now.
Some recommendations. Okay, I'm just going to go off the list. Star Wars Battlefront 2, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, both 1 and 2, Star Wars Empire at War, the gold pack, preferably, because all the fucking extra shit with this on Consortium is fucking great. Alright, continuing. Jedi Academy, all the other Jedi Knight games. You have Republic Commando, Galactic Battlegrounds was alright from what I've been told. I haven't played it. Dark Forces 1 and 2 are both extremely fucking good. Dark Forces 2 is Jedi Knight. Anyways, the Force Unleashed series. If it's not for everyone, I personally liked it. Not everyone does. You got the X-Wing series. I haven't played it, but I've been told great things about it. Rebel Assault is good. You've got Rogue Squadron 3D. It just came out this past year for Steam. It's on sale right now.
Wait, Rogue Squadron 3?
3D.
Oh.
Star Wars Starfighter is a very mediocre title, but personally I found at least some level of enjoyment out of it. It's a decent title, nice little, kind of like an airplane combat arena kind of shit, weird thing. I don't understand it, but it's fun.
Holy shit, Shadows of the Empire? I mean, the game was shit, but holy crap.
Generally speaking, those are the good ones I'd recommend. Did I leave anything out? I mentioned Battlefront, so that's good.
The original Battlefront.
Yes, the original. Okay.
Oh my god, I have to tell Blop about this. The original Shadows of the Empire for N64 is on Steam.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, he's back.
For
Yes,
two
I'm back.
for $2.03 right now.
Oh wow, many happy memories from that. I mean, it wasn't a great game, but it
Those
was.
games were like Xbox and GameCube exclusive as well. They were a lot of fun. If you guys feel like playing those, I don't remember all of them off the top of my head.
I mean, okay, let's face it though. Shadows of the Empire had the best intro level on almost any Star Wars game ever.
I think I played that at one point. That was actually a lot of fun.
The intro level was the Battle of Hoth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that. That was fun.
But in terms of really, really good Battle of Hoth, Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron nailed it. But then again, it was built off of the engine that they used on.
Nah, guys, you gotta play Space Wars Darth Star.
In terms of Racer, Episode 1 Racer, hands down.
Actually, that wasn't bad, surprisingly.
It was...
That was the fourth good thing that came out of Episode 1.
Oh, it was great. The Boonta Eve, the Boonta Eve Classic, that was... Damn, it nailed it.
Yeah, that was 1-to-1 from the visuals of the movie. That was very well designed.
Other games?
And there's another upside to playing Episode 1 Racer. You got to kill Anakin repeatedly.
Also,
Yes.
Bounty Hunter ain't that bad.
As Sebulba.
Yep. Or you could just, ram him into a cliffside and hear him scream no as he explodes into a fiery ball of death.
Oh, yes. You mentioned the X-Wing series?
Yeah,
Yep.
every Star Wars game's on sale right now. So yeah, the X-Wing, Dark Forces.
Republic
yeah.
Commando, which is criminally underrated.
Yep.
Seriously, go play that.
And is technically canon.
Which
It
one?
is. They've been introduced into the Clone Wars, and I was so happy when they did.
They did well. Who what?
The four
Delta
Republic
Squadron.
Commandos, the four Clone Commandos were seen in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, they were. I remember hearing
Oh,
about
and
that.
They were-
don't
So, all
forget
the
Super
events-
Bombad Racing, everyone.
Shut up.
Masters of Terrace, Delcy.
Yeah. Okay, no, we're not going there.
Okay. As for good Star Wars games,
The battle pods that you can find at Dave & Buster's are fun, by the way.
you mentioned Empire at War.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's on here.
with
It's on sale.
expansion, With expansion.
So, one of the things about Empire at War was that it was developed by Petroglyph, who were all ex-Westwood Studios employees.
Mhm.
You had pedigree behind that.
Yep.
It's on sale on Steam Blab for $6.79.
I'm going to get the X-Wing series on sale. That's half price.
Well, actually, less than half. I'm seeing 66% off everything.
Okay.
Although, no excuse, get KOTOR 1 and 2.
I know. I'll get codes up. The thing about the X-Wing series was that the last one, X-Wing Alliance, actually placed you as part of a family caught up in the galactic conflict.
Oh, 4 of those are on sale, too.
Um,
Blob, something else. I'm sorry to interrupt you again, Blob. But
Sure.
something else of interest. Rogue Squadron's on Steam.
oh, God, I love that game.
The original Rogue Squadron. I haven't bought a game on Steam in years. I'm buying some games on Steam.
Rogue Squadron. So, aside from games and the comics, did you guys discuss comics?
Not really.
Comics are a bit more subjective. There are so many series out there. I mean, I hear a lot of stuff from Dark Horse was very good.
Oh, Dark Horse is the granddaddy.
I don't have much in terms of comics knowledge, and for any franchise. So,
Well, to anyone listening to the stream, if you haven't read Dark Empire, if you haven't read Crimson Empire, I implore you to read them.
Do
I actually really like Legacy as well. Takes place 100 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Very, very interesting.
which means it's legacy now and doesn't count.
Well, it means that you don't have to concern yourself with episodes 7, 8, and 9 because it's been done better.
Also, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, not Rebel fucking Heroes or whatever the fuck it's called. Just Star Wars: The Clone Wars, fucking great.
I have heard good things about it, but I haven't actually sat down and watched it.
No, not the series. No, the game. The Star Wars. No, it's not based on. All right, it was created well before the actual series. Right, I'm actually looking at it right now. It came out in 2002 and 2003 on GameCube, PlayStation, and Xbox. Well, PlayStation 2. The idea. It's a lot of fun. It's a good game. It was made by Pandemic, so you know it's going to be good. And basically, it's kind of a story mode-ish version of. It's basically the story mode that Battlefront never got.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember
Like
that
a
from back in the
genuine
day. That was on the original Xbox.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun. I personally had fun. I never bought it. I
Yeah, it
only
was.
rented
Alright,
it.
Since Seawall's running low on time, we're going to have to wrap it up, I'm afraid.
Yep.
Yes.
So, gents, closing thoughts.
I'll start. Fuck The Last Jedi. I am now firmly in the category of blip and fucking Spart. Or you guys will see my words eaten at some point within the next month. Quite literally, folks. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we
And,
might actually show a clip of that once it's up. So, yeah.
And I'd still like to say that Empire Strikes Back is not the best Star Wars movie, and for that, I'm gonna get fucking crucified.
Blop?
If there's any hope and salvage in the Star Wars franchise, whoever gets it, please look up to what Lucas has done, and of course Disney, and in the words of the late great Qui-Gon Jinn, don't do that again.
Seawall.
The term uphill struggle doesn't begin to define what Star Wars has to go through. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And if Disney loses money or barely ekes out a profit, I don't think it's going to stop them from doing Episode 9.
I think it's already slotted.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. We all know it. And, well, as stated before, Star Wars, 1997 to 2017. It's time to have a funeral.
Alrighty then, Beggar Hero.
What more can be said? I hope that J.J. Abrams just kills Star Wars and doesn't move on to any other franchises.
Why not? He already killed Star Trek.
Well, he killed Star Trek, then Star Wars, and then we don't know what the next one's gonna be.
Wait, I know what to give him. Let's give him
Battlestar Galactica, bitches.
Yes.
Stargate's another option, but that's going to be tricky.
No, because that's actually good. Wandering.
Why won't you add Stormtrooper practice? Sorry, I had to. I just had to.
And my closing thoughts. Well, interestingly enough, and this was prophetic, I went out for Chinese earlier today. Right before the stream started, I broke open the fortune cookie. And the fortune read as follows. It is a silly fish there's a silly fish that's fooled by taking the same bait twice. This goes out to everybody that had reservations about episode 7 but went into episode 8 and came away pissed off. Guess what? You took the same bait twice. You are a silly fish. And with that being said, Roger, Roger. We are free! Fuck you, Blob!